So we just arrived at Grand Lake for the Bassmaster Classic, and for you guys that don't know, this is where I cut my teeth fishing, especially tournament fishing. And the reason being is I live about an hour south of here, and this is just where they had the bigger tournaments. You know, that they paid the most money, and that's where I wanted to be at. From BFL to team tournaments to Central Pro-Ams. I've spent lots of time on this lake, and you know, we've had a couple classics here, and I've had some, you know, some nice finishes and stuff like that. And you know, we're back, and we're back at a time where it's going to be pretty good. I feel like, if I'm guessing before, it's one of those, if I could pick what I wanted, you know, I wanted a wrench thrown in it. I want it to be cold where fishing was tough, or I wanted a big rain to make it tough to get a bite, and something thrown into the plan, because I know this lake, and when this happens, I mean, you can hear birds, there's leaves on the trees in March, they're going to bite, and everybody's going to catch them. It's going to be one of those deals where I feel like that you're just going to have to catch a couple bigger ones each day. And you know, with the way the first two tournaments of the year has turned out, with guys just catching weights like crazy, I don't think this is going to be any different. And I don't know how all of it's going to play out. I've been asked that question a million times. How's the Grand going to play out? I don't know with the way it's going now. You know, with the ability of LiveScope to be able to go out there and catch them. I know how I want to fish in this deal. You know, I think I'll sleep better after the event is over if I lose, if I do it my way. And when I say my way, I don't mean turn LiveScope off and go to the bank and get 2 for what. I mean fish my way. LiveScope, absolutely. You know, use it on structure and all. I don't know about getting out in the middle here, because I just know so many little places that they get, and that could be a problem too. When you know so many places, you want to be a million places at one time, and you can only be at one. So we'll see how it goes. Let's hop on ActiveCaptain here, and I'll show you how the lake plays out. So Grand Lake, you know, one of the cool things about the lake is it's really diverse. There's a lot of things. I mean, you got the river where you got shallow water, logs, just about whatever you want up there, but it doesn't look that big. But honestly, it fishes really big because of just all the creeks and cuts and boat docks. You know, there's a lot of shallow water all over the lake, which means that a guy can, you know, he can bounce back and forth from deep to shallow, but you know, it just offers a lot. You know, lately, the last few years, we've had a lot of current in the lake because of the development. They don't want to raise the lake level around these houses. So rather than letting it fill up, they just run a lot of current through it. And I think that has changed somewhat of how these fish kind of act and how they grew up. You know, a lot of these fish are more current related now than they are structure related. So it's a big playing field. It's loaded with bass. And there's going to be a lot of fish caught. Hey guys, wrapped up practice, you know, for the Bassmaster Classic here in Tulsa on Grand Lake, and you know, it's for the challenging thing in practice at the Classic is it's 5 days for the most part before the event starts, and when you have that in the spring, things can change. You know, I'm not going to be able to catch them, I think, like I want to catch them. I think that, you know, this way, I think that I can catch some. It's one of those deals where I think I'm going to catch some, but I don't know where I'm going to catch them at. So it's going to be, I'm going to have a little luck in this one. I feel like, I think that, you know, some things are going to have to work out. And it all depends on what kind of rotation you get in, because I feel like 90% of the field is going to be fishing the same kind of stuff. What rotation you get into, you know, you don't want to get behind somebody and not know it. And then obviously on grain is just getting, I feel like a guy may have a chance to catch 3 big ones a day or have 3 big bites. And the deal is you're gonna have to land all 3 of those big bites. So we'll see how it turns out. You know, it's been a year since I found out it was coming to Grand, and I'm kind of ready to get it started and get the show on the road. You know, it's taken a week or 10 days to even sit down and do the recap for the Classic. You know, it stung a little bit. You know, a lot of people's asked me, you know, how bad and all of that. It's just, it is what it is. You know, I don't know that I've done anything wrong. Obviously, I didn't make the right decisions, but it wasn't like I was trying to do that, you know. And what got me was, you know, it's the first time I think ever fishing on Grand that just the knowledge of the years past has got me. Literally the second day I take off, and in my mind I'm gonna start in Honey Creek and just fish, you know, new stuff. And I did not get to Honey Creek until 11:30. Just because I would run by something, wind be kicking in, I'm like, man, I've caught them there, and I'd pull in. Which is good because I didn't catch anything in Honey Creek once I got there. But, you know, it's just one of those events that
punch somebody in the mouth.
Literally the first day of practice, I fished half the first day of practice in the area where first and second came from. You know, the mouth of Horse Creek, and it just, I just don't know if I didn't get bit or if they just weren't there yet, one or the other. But I think I had the right game plan. You know, I found a lot of brush up there in pre-practice, and I knew going into the event I was going to have to catch them on a jerkbait, you know, a rogue, and for me to do good. And I just never got on that deal. I couldn't get bit doing that. So I really thought, you know, I kind of saved it for the last day on Sunday of practice. And you guys, you know, you saw it on the footage, you know, just throwing a jig. Water was pretty clear, just throwing a jig in some of those spawning pockets. I mean, I caught some big ones. And what I didn't realize is during that day, and talking to some of the other anglers after, it was a sun deal. Like those fish, they got where they were getting because of the sun, and we just never got that calm, sunny day in the tournament. So, you know, after the first day when I tried to throw that jig and didn't get bit, I knew the second day I had to have a big bag. And, you know, whenever I got to have a big bag up there, and that's typically what I do, big, you know, covert. You know, I caught a 6-pounder the second day, lost a couple big ones for no reason whatsoever. They just didn't get the bait good. But, and then the third day, you know, it blew so hard that I knew I couldn't move around. I couldn't run the whole lake and fish, you know, some old school stuff. I had to just pick an area, and I picked the area around the bridge just because I knew a lot of guys weren't fishing in there. And with that wind kicking in, I've caught some giant bags around that bridge area. And, you know, I just, literally the last day, I just never got a big bite. So it is what it is. You know, it's another Classic. Not a terrible finish, but not what you want whenever you're fishing on Grand. So we'll jump on ActiveCaptain here, and I'll kind of show you, you know, where I fished and where it went down. So before the event, I made the comment that on Grand, you're not going to win out of one spot. You're going to have to move around and fish out of the lake, and the lake is going to be good from top all the way to the bottom. I was completely wrong on that. And I don't know what the reasoning was, but it literally, a lot of it went down in this area. You know, the Horse Creek Bay is what I call it, Horse Creek. And, you know, I just probably one of those deals where the water was low. There's a lot of flats in that area where those fish, you know, they weren't far from spawning. There was actually a few fish caught off bed. There's a lot of fish caught. As far as I know, just about everybody in the top 10 dropped their trolling motors somewhere in that area. You know, I fished from the mouth all the way back to takeoff. You know, that little zigzag there has got a lot of good spawning pockets, flats and things like that. And you know, there'd be days there'd be times I'd fish some steep stuff with spinnerbait, and then I might hop across, you know, and fish a log on a flat. It just depended on what the conditions were. And, you know, like I said, I kind of got in a bad habit of fishing history as opposed to what was going on. But yeah, it was one of those deals where a lot of fish were caught in these spawning pockets, just because they weren't actually a lot of them spawning, but they were staged up getting ready to go. So we just missed the boat. That's all it is. On to the next one.